Welcome back to the channel, everyone. We're about to react to 3 True Roommate Horror Stories animated by SSG Animations. Alright, feel like watching this at 1:56 a.m.? Let's get it, alright? Let's get it. Please subscribe, Subscribe to SSG Animations.
It has been 10 years, but the memories of this occurrence remain fresh. In the first year of college, I had a roommate whose name was Jack. He was on a scholarship. He was brilliant, but extremely shy. He hardly talks. Whenever I tried to talk to him, he never spoke up. After a few weeks together, we got to know each other better. He told me a single mom raised him. She later died of a drug overdose when he was 12. He was adopted by an older man who had just lost his family to an accident, and he told me all the man ever did was stare at cars and fix them all day. The man died a few weeks before he came to college. He loved planting, but most of his crops died before they even matured. He always seems to think he is full of bad luck. He was severely bullied in high school and was often called names. Unfortunately, Damon, who attended the same high school with him and was one of his bullies, was also in college with us and also stayed in the same dorm. Damon had a roommate too, Fred. They were typical bad boys. Jack tried his best to avoid Damon, but he couldn't. When Damon found out Jack was in college with him, he started spreading rumors about how his mother died and how poor he was in high school. People started calling him names and teasing him. It was high school all over again for him. He would wake up early to take his bath to avoid coming across anyone.
Wait. They're awakening the demon slowly but surely. They're awakening his inner demon. I'm trying to tell you, don't bully too many people, bro. I recommend you don't bully nobody at all, but hey, you know how life is. You're gonna have some bullies out here. It's just how it go.
Of course, I would intervene from time to time and threaten to file a complaint if they didn't stop. One time, Jack was in the bathroom when Damon and Fred decided to tease him. They took his towels and clothes and told him to walk back naked to his room. I had to call the dorm supervisor, who came to his rescue. Damon and Fred had gone out to party with their girlfriends one night. Unfortunately, on their way back, they had an accident and no one survived. It was a very tragic incident. The police started investigating the accident. They realized someone had tampered with the car's brakes. It was later discovered that Fred fought with Mike at the party. Mike was a senior. He was very popular and well known for his naughty behaviors. The police arrested Mike for questioning, and the school expelled him immediately because he was already on probation. Everyone had forgotten what happened, and we moved on. Up until one night, I woke up suddenly and everywhere was dark. It came as a shock to me because Jack never sleeps with the light off. I called out his name, but there was no response. I stood up to get the light when I had a spine-tingling feeling as if someone was behind me. I immediately switched on the light, and to my surprise, he was sitting at the edge of his bed. "Were you just behind me, Jack?" I asked. "No," he answered coldly. "Why aren't you sleeping, and why was the light off?" He didn't respond. Instead, he laid down and slept. I was a little scared. He mumbled some words, but I couldn't hear him, so I decided to go back to sleep. I closed my eyes for 2 seconds,
I ain't
Jack
sleeping with him.
switched off the lights again. I quickly switched it back on and told him I needed the light. That night, I didn't sleep much, so I decided to write a complaint letter to the school the following day. I wrote about how I thought he needed help. That was the first time he acted weird. I would often catch him talking to himself, hiding things, and one time I saw him cackling. His face was pale as if he hadn't eaten or drank. After I wrote the letter, I decided to return to the dorm early to go through his stuff. I skipped my last class and headed to the dorm. Luckily for me, Jack wasn't at the dorm yet. I started going through his stuff. Then, I saw a chronicle and decided to go through it. I stood there frozen, going through the horrible things written in Jack's chronicle. He wrote about how he plotted Mike and Fred's fight. He had sent a threatening message to Mike pretending to be Fred. Mike went to confront Fred at the party, and that was how the fight started. He also wrote about how he tampered with the brakes of Fred's car, knowing fully well that Damon would be in the car too. I was engrossed in what I was reading and didn't hear Jack come in. I felt someone behind me, so I turned around. My heart skipped a beat when I realized Jack was behind me. Before I could say anything, he hit me with an iron and I passed out. When I regained consciousness, I couldn't see much.
Man, see, that's what I'm saying. Some of these stories, man, look, if you gonna read something and you sneakily doing it, why would you still face the closet, bro? Face the door. Go in your room. Go do something else. Go outside the room or something. Who reads a paper and be like, yeah, so this dude admitted crime. And yeah. All of a sudden he's behind me and he has a fucking pipe, dude. Bro, I'm automatically punching first. I'm automatically punching first. There's no way I'm letting you get a hit off of me, bro. You was not getting a hit on me, bro.
It was dark and my hands were tied. Jack had locked me in the trunk of his car. I was shouting for help and struggling. It was getting hard to breathe. I kept asking myself why Jack would do such a thing. It was getting harder and harder to breathe.
Embrace the dark side.
Hoping that someone would hear me. Jack had asked the dorm security for a shovel. He gave it to him, but he was suspicious. When Jack got to his car, he opened his trunk, and before I could scream or say anything further, he hit me in the head with the shovel, closed the trunk, and drove off.
Oh, man.
Security had followed Jack quietly, and he saw everything. He reported what he saw to the police. The police alerted every officer on patrol, and they tracked Jack's car. They found the car empty and began to search for me and Jack in the surrounding environment when one officer raised a notice that he had found 2 of my lost bloody teeth in the trunk and they needed to act fast. They screened and searched the vicinity where he was caught trying to bury me. They searched his late adopted father's garden, and by the time they found me, I was half buried by Jack, who was laughing during the whole incident. I was rushed to the hospital and he was arrested. Jack was sentenced to life imprisonment. He started his sentence in a mental health facility and was transferred to prison after his treatment was complete. I also saw a therapist for a while because I couldn't get over the fact that Jack had tried to bury me alive. My therapist told me I needed to talk to Jack, so I visited him at the mental asylum. He didn't answer any of my questions. Instead, he was smiling like a maniac and repeatedly said, "You had to go." When I returned to college, Jack had gotten numerous nicknames. Jack the Psycho Killer, Jack the Human Planter, Jack the Horror Fetish, and Jack the Roommate Who Lost It. These were the few I heard of. These names reminded me of the incident all over again, and I had to ask to leave the room we both stayed in. During school, people would cluster around me, hoping to hear what I had to say. I dismissed them and told them the rumors and names they called him were what messed with him in the first place. I repeatedly visited the therapist for a while because I couldn't get over the fact that Jack had tried to bury me alive and I could have been the manure for his garden because he loved to plant and couldn't see another of his newly planted crops die, so I had to go.
Oh, but I bet you learned a very valuable lesson. Not all roommates are your roommates. And don't piss off somebody that's been bullied severely in high school. Don't piss them off, bro. They will enter the dark side.
My first roommate experience happened in college.
Look at that animation of that girl. Look at that hair.
I was an only child, so I was really excited to see how living with someone else was going to be. My father owned a large apartment that was close to my college campus, and he allowed me to stay there throughout my first college semester. After I got settled, I started carrying out interviews for potential roommates. I probably went over 100 candidates till I met him. His name was Jason Gunner, and he was perfect.
Jason
During
Gunner.
the interview, I noticed that he was very polite and well.
What a name.
He also had an amazing aura around him. When I was finally done with the interview, I knew without a doubt that Jason was the perfect person to be my roommate. But there was still a little something that bothered me.
Your roommate, eh?
So I normally ran a background check on
A
everyone I
female?
interviewed, as it was one of the most important things to do when looking for a roommate. But when I tried to run a background check on Jason Gunner, the results came back scanty as there was little to no information about him. I asked him about this, and he said that he mostly lived a low-profile life, which is why there wasn't much of his background on the internet.
Red flag.
I knew it was a pretty hasty decision, but I took his word for it, and I told myself that maybe having little to no information on you out there was a good thing.
Well, that's
So
bad.
after a while, all the arrangements were settled, and it didn't take long before Jason started moving in. Things went perfectly at first, as the first few months were wonderful. I loved living with Jason, as he usually made pancakes for both of us in the mornings, and he also helped in doing most of the chores around the apartment. During this time, I realized that I made the right decision because Jason was a delight to live with. But all that joy and perfection abruptly stopped when I brought home my then boyfriend, Harvey Lance. I had met Harvey on campus 2 months after I started the semester.
Chelsea.
He too was
The
one of
killer.
the sweetest guys I had met, and things were going really great between us. I remember the first time I introduced them to each other, and I remember seeing Jason with a frown on his face. That was really odd to me, as Jason was usually a happy guy, and I hardly ever saw him frown, but as the evening went on, I could tell that he really did not like Harvey.
Harvey
Now,
did?
there was no reason for Jason not to like Harvey, as I was present during all their interactions, and I was sure that nothing rude or out of the ordinary happened. I eventually came to the conclusion that Jason was just a little jealous.
A
But as
little.
more time passed, I realized that what I thought was just petty jealousy was actually real hatred. It didn't take long before Harvey noticed that Jason didn't like him, and a massive tension began to form between them. Things got really weird from there, as Jason started to act really strange. He started to incessantly follow us around on dates and any time we went out. I didn't notice much of this at first, but Harvey did, and when he told me about it, I thought he was just over-exaggerating as I told him that it probably wasn't Jason and he was just seeing things, but he stuck to his story as he adamantly kept saying that he was sure we were being followed by my roommate. When I got home, I confronted Jason with these claims, but he always denied them, saying, "Harvey is just delusional and he would say anything to get me out of your apartment and your life." Things started to get heated from there, as anytime I was at home, Jason incessantly told me to leave Harvey.
Yeah,
as he
she
was
gotta be
certain
young.
that Harvey
I'm
was
just
nothing
saying.
but bad news. And the same thing was happening at school, as anytime I was out with Harvey, he always told me to kick Jason out of my apartment, as he was sure that there was something really wrong with him. I always told Harvey that I couldn't do that as Jason had already signed a year-long lease, and when I was home, I always told Jason that I really liked Harvey and that I wasn't going to leave him. I thought that settled things, but everything just escalated from there.
She's slow
Things weren't
too.
going really
Goodness
good at home,
gracious.
as the nice Jason I once knew was no more. He was now constantly rude to me, and he always locked himself in his room every time I was in the apartment. Things weren't also going too great at school either, as Harvey was too annoyed that I still hadn't kicked him out. It took a while, but I eventually couldn't take it anymore.
What you
I
do?
was in my first year of college, and these two people were just bringing additional tension into my life.
Did you cook both
I
of them
didn't
all
have
at
the
your
time
life?
to deal with it anymore, so I decided to even out the equation by taking them both out of my life.
Bruh.
I decided to start with Jason, as I planned to pay him back the rent money with interest and tell him to leave as soon as possible. But when I got home, I could hear people shouting through my door. From the hallway, I could hear Jason and Harvey throwing words at each other, as I heard Jason say, "I tried my best to make sure everything was perfect between us, but you just had to come in and ruin everything." Harvey then replied, "I never did anything to you, man, and you are delusional. There was no us. You're just a creepy and obsessive roommate who followed us around on our dates. Can't you get it into your head that you're just roommates and nothing more?" That's when I heard Jason scream, "She belongs to me and no one else. She just doesn't know it yet, and I'm gonna do anything to make sure nothing comes between us, even you."
Psychotic.
I had heard enough at this point as I walked in and said, "That's it, Jason. You're a totally different person now, and to be honest, it's frightening, so I need you to leave." I then watched as Jason calmly said, I'm not going anywhere, my sweet Elizabeth. We're meant to be together, forever. His eyes looked malicious as he said those words, and I started to get scared. Harvey, who was still in the room, then said, "What the hell is wrong with you, man? Didn't you just hear what she said? You need to leave now before I make you leave." That's when Jason, who
Harvey,
now had a crazed look in his eye,
hold on. First, before he fuck you up. Because you can see it. Harvey, don't threaten somebody that's already... Bro, he already was amped up. You gonna threaten him? Really? You think that's gonna go over strongly? He don't give a fuck anymore, bro. Y'all tripping, bro. Y'all have to be young. Y'all gotta see this coming, bro. Y'all gotta see it coming. It's all in your face. All up in your face. And you just ignoring it. Especially the female. She ignored both of y'all. Like, if your boyfriend is telling you this dude is following you around, hold up. If your boyfriend is telling you, hey, this guy is following us around, and you ignore it constantly, obviously you want to die by this dude. Obviously you don't care that he is obsessed with you. You don't care. You just like him. You don't give a fuck. Alright. Back to the video, man. Back to the video.
That Harvey. They fought viciously for a while before Harvey...
Look at them animations.
Jason fell to the floor.
What
Harvey
the
turned to me and
hell?
said, "You need to call the cops now, Elizabeth. This guy is crazy." I started to look for my phone, but before I could find it, Harvey, who noticed this, decided to come help me. But as he started to walk towards me,
Grabbed his leg, didn't he?
As Jason, in a fit of rage, angrily pushed Harvey. Harvey tripped and fell headfirst into a glass center table. The impact was hard as the glass broke, and I noticed Harvey wasn't moving anymore. It took me a while before it finally dawned on me, but I knew without a doubt that Harvey was dead. It was an accident, as I knew Jason didn't mean to kill him, but he was still the one who pushed him. I managed to find my phone.
Damn, he instantly died
but as
like
I dialed
that?
the number, Jason immediately took the phone away from me. So I screamed, "What are you doing, you psycho? We need to call the cops." Jason, who now had a look of terror in his eyes, said, "No, you can't do that. I can't go back to jail again." I could feel the tears running down my cheek as I said, "So what do you want us to do, Jason?"
You wonder why you couldn't find no evidence on him? Cause he erased the fucking evidence. And he using a fake name, dude. Come on now.
"Harvey's dead. I know you didn't mean to, and it was an accident, but we still have to call the cops." Jason then said, "They won't believe me. They never do." He then walked up to me and hugged me in a messed up attempt to comfort me as he calmly whispered in my ear, "Besides, even if it was an accident, a part of me had to do this. I am willing to do anything to keep you with me, my sweet Elizabeth." His words sent shivers down my spine as I finally realized that Jason was living in some sick fantasy and that he was truly insane. I then pushed him off me as I backed away. I couldn't recognize him anymore, as Jason now looked like a truly different person. After I had pushed him away, Jason then looked at me and said, "We have to be together, Elizabeth. I know what we should do. Let's run away. Let's go far away and keep on living together." Jason had a sick grin on his face as he said those words, so I knew I had to protect myself. I tried to run into my bedroom and lock myself in there.
Just get the glass that's already on the table, bro.
Towards the doors, I screamed, but that's when we started to hear sirens. Relieved, I realized that my call must have gone through and I was saved. It didn't take long before the cops surrounded the building. I then told Jason to give up and open the door, but he didn't listen as he looked me dead in the eyes and said, "If I can't live with you, I don't want to live at all."
Kill yourself, brother.
As he jumped out the window.
Yep, I already knew it.
2 deaths happened that day on the campus, and I was the...
Bro, that's crazy.
I told the cops everything that happened, and an investigation was carried out. Harvey's parents were heartbroken as they blamed me for it. I didn't complain, as I knew Harvey meeting Jason was all my fault.
Man.
I also met with Jason's father.
Harvey parents blamed you. Harvey parents they was just looking for an out, bro. Bro, look, Harvey, he could have lived. He could have lived. But damn, bro, he should have just. Hey, if the girl don't listen to you and you know something's up, man, leave the bitch. Yo, it is not worth it. Just leave her, man, because she obviously don't give a fuck, bro. Two people died in one story. You know how hard it is gonna be for her to live like that. You know how hard it is gonna be for her to live like that. Bro, I had a friend. She lived with somebody a significant other dying. I was like, bro, that's tough. That's some tough stuff. As close as I got to somebody dying is one of my best friends. They died. That's it. Took me a year. It took me a year and a half, well, maybe a year, to get to a point where I'm comfortable enough to be able to talk about them and not, tear up and stuff. That's crazy, bro. This story took some turns, but of course, my G, you knew if he was obsessed and he didn't want to go back to jail, he was gonna kill himself, bro. That's bro. RP to everybody that died in this story. RP to Elizabeth's just mental health. Cause gosh, I know that's gonna be challenging for her to live. Goodness gracious.
Who had heard what happened to his son. He was a nice man who apparently wanted to meet me and apologize. Shocked, I wondered what he wanted to apologize for, and when we met, he told me that Jason had suffered from a peculiar form of OCPD, an obsessive-compulsive personality disorder, since he was a kid. He said this disorder made him obsess over certain people, especially women, as he saw them as things he owned. He then...
OCPD. Oh goodness, we gotta watch out for that. I didn't know that was a thing as well.
Said to me that Jason was a good boy who tried to suppress and fight the thoughts by being a nice person, but they always got the best of him, and it led to numerous incidents of him lashing out. This in turn led him to getting charged with numerous cases of assault and battery. I then asked why those cases didn't come up when I did a background check, and he said Jason was trying to turn a new leaf, so he recently changed his last name from Lance to Gunner, as that was his mother's last name. The revelations were shocking to me, and when the case was finally over, I left college for a while as I decided to take a deferred year or two to get help over the trauma I had.
So he didn't change his name, but he changed his name slightly. That's some messed up stuff. I still would have just background checked his first name. I would have first named and I would have made sure, hey, I know that there's some similar to this man that could get with the name that to get crazy, real crazy. At least goodness gracious, man, that's crazy, bro.
Experienced. I have never and I will never forget what happened to me that day. That experience opened my eyes as I realized firsthand that you can never really know someone, even the ones who live with you.
I like that animation of her hair though, low key.
My name is Ketty. I'm 31 now. I got a very good job in another city 5 years ago, and I shifted to that city. There, I met a girl named Sarah. She was 1 year younger than me. She was very talented and pretty as well. I was completely new to that city, but she had been living in that city for 3 or 4 years. She used to work in my office. She offered me her apartment and said that she lived alone. Earlier, a girl lived with her, and that girl had moved to another city. That's why she said that I could stay with her as a roommate. We both used to have a lot of fun together. We both became very good friends. And when we got leave from the office, we used to go out also. She had a boyfriend. His name was Harris. She had gone to meet him, and it was too late for her to come. But after coming from there, her mood changed completely. She was looking very worried. "What happened? You okay? Oh, nothing is fine. My boyfriend cheated on me. He's going to marry some other girl. He said that we both cannot get married. I tried to explain to him a lot, but he is not agreeing at all. I don't want to see his face at all. His promises were false. I consoled her. You shouldn't cry after a guy who doesn't understand you. It's better to stay away from people like that. Don't cry, please. It's not your fault. She was very depressed and worried, and obviously she would be because of the wrong that was done to her. I explained to her a lot, but she was crying a lot. It took her many days to recover. I motivated her a lot. Then she got well after 20 to 25 days. I was happy because
Ooh, that's pain, bro. Holy crap. That's pain. Ooh, hopefully she don't go rogue. I could sense something rogue. She's gonna go rogue and have to gosh. Hopefully nobody dies in this story. But I could sense it. I could sense that rogue. Look at her purple. Look at the purple eyes, bro. You know it's about to get crazy in here.
she was smiling, she was healing. She left the office saying that her younger sister is going to visit her, so she will be late. I heard the door knocking. I opened the door. It was Sarah. She was injured on her head. Hey, what happened? She didn't respond. Why so late? Are you hungry? She didn't give me any reply. She moved to the room. She looked tired and changed. When she came into the apartment that night, she had neither her phone nor her purse with her. I was worried. When I woke up in the morning the next day, I heard some sound from the kitchen. And when I went towards the kitchen, I saw that Sarah was cooking breakfast for both of us. She cooked fish, but she had said that she is a vegetarian and she does not eat all that. But I ignored it. When I asked her about her purse and phone, she said it was stolen on the way. We both went to the office after breakfast, and we had a great day at the office. We both took a cab to our room. She was doing strange things in the cab. She was staring outside the cab window and talking very weird things. What if I jump out of a moving cab? What? Are you kidding? Right? How is it possible? Then she jumped out of that cab. OMG, I was numb. Seriously? I screamed and asked the driver to stop the cab. That cab driver was also scared, and he ran away. It was
What? The cab driver ran away? But that's his car. I'm confused. It's okay.
good that the distance of our apartment from there was very short. I was crying. Sarah, you okay? She didn't reply, and she was behaving as if nothing had happened
Yo, she's a ghost. Yo, she's a ghost. No way.
to her. I was shocked.
She jumped
But I
out, no
was
damage.
happy she was okay. I thought she was all right, but she was still in shock. She was cheated in love. That's why she was probably not able to forget that sorrow. Next day, I bought a movie ticket to refresh her mood. We went to see that movie, and we had a good day there.
Oh no.
Sarah was in the bathroom,
If this
and
is
I
a
was
ghost,
sitting in the hall
this
watching
ghost.
TV. I do not like horror movies
She
much because I get
watching-
scared every
She
time.
watching movies. She's still
When
hanging
I
out
was
with
watching
her.
TV, I
Oh,
wasn't
no.
able to change the channel. But again and again, the same show was appearing on TV. My TV was showing me a horror movie repeatedly. The same thing was repeated over and over again on TV. In that scene, it was shown that a boy kills a girl and throws her into a ditch. I was slamming the TV remote. What the hell? And suddenly the TV was off automatically. I could hear some strange sound coming from behind the TV. As soon as I turned my eyes, I saw a woman who looked terrible and horrifying, whose face was completely disfigured and eyes were completely red. She was looking at me, and slowly she was moving towards me. I screamed, "Ah! Sarah, help!" It grabbed my throat very tightly and started to choke me. I tried very hard to call Sarah, but she didn't listen to me at all. At that time, I was suffering like a fish. It threw me towards the TV so hard that I fell on top of the TV. After a while, I fainted. When I came back to consciousness, I found a small chip behind the TV. When I checked that chip, I saw that there were some nude videos and pictures of Sarah and her boyfriend. After a few hours, I got a call from the police station. "We have found the body of a girl. We suspect that this dead body belonged to Sarah." But I was completely stunned. How is it possible? Sarah was living with me in my apartment for so long. Suddenly, Sarah came in front of me.
What happened, Kitty?
"Nothing. I'll be back, okay?" And I rushed to the police station. I was very scared that day, and I was praying all the way that this is not my friend Sarah. It happened just as I feared. That corpse was of Sarah, and the one who was with me for so long was none other than Sarah's soul. I gave that video recording to the police. Due to fear, I was numb. I never returned to the room.
That's crazy. It was a
I
ghost
went
the whole
to the
time.
office to find out and checked the CCTV footage there and found out that Sarah never came with me to the office for 27 days. I was talking to myself.
For
Everything was
27
visible from the photo
days?
of the CCTV camera. I found that cab driver and asked about that night. I was blown away after hearing what he said. "Ma'am, you don't know who you were talking to that day? I felt that some spirit had entered inside you, and when you made the cab stop, I got very afraid. That's why I left you there that day. I'm sorry, ma'am. You were the only one in the cab that day." After a few days, I went to the movie theater and found out that I went to see the movie alone that day. I could see her spirit everywhere. She wanted peace. That's why I put a lot of emphasis on the police to solve this case quickly, and fortunately, this case got resolved soon. It was later revealed that Sarah had several video recordings of her and her boyfriend, and she was blackmailing her boyfriend with the help of that video recording. She wanted her boyfriend to come back into her life, but one day her boyfriend lured her into a trap and lured her to meet him near her old ditch. Harris begged her to delete those videos. When she denied and didn't agree, he angrily choked her and threw her down in the ditch. That was the reason that same scene was repeating on the TV again and again. Sarah wanted me to know the truth, but I couldn't. I really feel very bad for Sarah. Harris was also arrested in charge of the murder.
Yo, that's crazy. Yo, that's crazy. Alright, let me just leave it right there. Yo, that's crazy. Imagine seeing a ghost for 27 days and you think you talking to her. You think you talking to her and you are not talking to her. Yo. Oh my gosh, I feel bad for her. Yo, lesson learned. If the girl's cute, you gotta check on her. You gotta check on her, bro. You gotta check on her. She cannot be alone for too long, bro. Even if she got a boyfriend, you gotta check on her. Damn, that's crazy. Also, the pretty ones, they need to talk like to others. Like they need to. I know now they kind of talk more, but damn. You gotta talk to somebody, let them know some of the situation. They ain't gotta know everything, some of the situation, bro. Especially if you got new videos of y'all doing things, you know, that's blackmail. That's craziness could happen. That's why I don't really take videos of that. I mean, I do, but I don't save them. Take them, watch them, you know. They gone. All right. Thank you guys for watching. That was SSG Animation. Great video. Yeah, that second story was crazy. That was crazy. Damn. Great story. And also we did have a third story. RP to all those who died in this one video that we got to see of the stories. May you all rest in peace. I'm out. Peace out, man. We out, bro. We out.